Hi everyone. The power that's wielded with this microphone right now. The last speaker, but between an audience and their drinks, I will promise to keep things as snappy as possible. I guess I'll be speaking for the European advertisers today. Why don't we go to the next slide? I'm really going to keep this quick. For those of you who don't know who Sky VR, this is just a very quick crib sheet. Basically, we are one of the biggest media companies in the UK. We are best known for our sports and movies content overall. I think you'll see the bottom bullet point there. We've got a pretty outstanding market share. We've got over 40% in the UK. We've got some big competitors there, but we recently reached quite a big milestone, 10 million customers at the end of 2010, which might seem quite small looking at it from a US market perspective, but trust me, in markets of 60 million people, 24 million households, it's actually quite an achievement. So that's who we are. So I guess what I'll talk about over the course of the next couple of minutes really is just the evolution that we're going through as a big brand, as a big advertiser, and also talk about some of the recent campaigns that we've run in social media, one in particular, and talk about the performance of that particular campaign. So over the past 6 to 12 months, we've undergone quite a significant transition in the social media space. You can see some of the key bullet points up there. I think 6 months ago, we were looking at about 50 plus Facebook pages. So there was a lot of scattered communities out there, official and unofficial. We had 100 plus Twitter accounts, so quite significant for a market our size. We had a very significant or a very specific focus on Facebook and Twitter specifically. We didn't really play outside of that space. And primarily, and I'm sure there are a lot of other advertisers that were this way at the start as well, it was very much a broadcast medium. We weren't really having any conversations with the consumers. We were just telling them what was happening at Sky and expecting them to listen. So where have we gotten to? Essentially, we have one brand hub on Facebook, along with around 10 or so community channels that are supporting. We've got one Twitter support account and I guess 10 specific channel accounts looking across our entire programming mix. We are starting to look much deeper, particularly when it comes to content, looking at YouTube, looking at LinkedIn, looking at wikis and forums and a variety of other things. This is beyond advertising. Of course, we're doing loads of advertising across all of those channels. And then I guess we're starting to move away from that one-way dialogue, which really was where we were at the start. So we've just plugged in our customer service teams and our customer support teams. It was probably about 3 or 4 months ago at this point. And we've gotten really good feedback from our customers. It is driving a significant amount of engagement. And if you look across our Facebook page specifically at the moment, the sentiment is very positive and it's very high. So we've come a long way. I think overall, the current view for social media at Sky is that this is integral to our business. And I think any big brand like ours that doesn't accept that at this point, well, they've just got their head in the sands. They haven't been paying attention. We are definitely starting to shift our focus towards existing customers. So whereas before we might have had a very specific marketing campaign focus across most of our social media presence, we're now starting to look at existing customers specifically rather than perhaps prospects. We're starting to bring on board the customer service teams, and we're starting to really engage with our brand teams within the business. So it's really touching every aspect of Sky. Go to the next slide. So this is the campaign that I've brought forward just as a bit of a case study. I will assume that there's no one out here, or very few, that know who Eric Cantona is. Eric Cantona, I actually think that he's involved with the MLS at this point. But he was a footballing icon in the 1990s. He was a star for Manchester United Football Club. We had Eric Cantona as the focus of a massive sports campaign that ran in, I believe it was August and September last year. Eric would basically walk in and out of the crowds. This was across TV, across radio, all the sort of traditional media as well as online. He would walk at a variety of sporting events. He would sort of come in and out and engage with the audience, which is exactly the way that Sky wanted to portray itself as an advertiser and as as a content provider. I guess what we wanted to do was align and integrate our social media focus with that above-the-line campaign. So what we did was work with our agencies, of course, and we came up with a Where's Eric campaign, which was meant to align to the ATL. It was meant to really integrate across all of the different marketing channels. The idea was basically that we would put up a page on our Facebook presence. It was a separate tab. When people would come to the site, they would like the site in order to get access. So typical sort of Facebook mechanics that I'm sure you guys are all used to. They would have a look at the app. The app itself would load on Facebook, and essentially every day or every couple of days there would be a new picture with Eric Cantonon's face embedded somewhere in the crowd, very similar to Where's Waldo. So a very easy mechanic to understand. There was lots of broadcast stuff as soon as someone would access it, and as soon as they would find Eric, it would be posted to their profile. So there was a lot of earned media going on as part of the campaign. So I think that's it in terms of mechanics. Next slide, please. So it's important to mention, I wouldn't pay much attention to the copy on the left-hand side and all the bullet points. I think specifically this campaign was about engagement, and it was about driving fans to the Facebook presence specifically. We've run a variety of campaigns since then and before then that have a number of different objectives. This was very specific to engagement. And it's important to mention that this wasn't just organic. We did support it with a lot of paid media, both online and offline. If you looked at some of the offline creatives, some of the CTAs would be specifically to either go to the Facebook page or to go to event URL that we had set up for the campaign specifically. So if you have a look at the graphs, very quickly, in a 4-week period, you can see where we were augmenting the campaign with paid media. This was specifically through Facebook ASUs, but we do run through a variety of other online channels to seed content, seed the idea, and drive people to these types of pages. But the uplift that we saw was pretty significant, certainly. We saw a 23% increase in follower numbers over a 4-week period, most of which was driven by paid media. And we've seen similar results since we ran this campaign back in August. So I think that's probably about it. So I'll wrap it up. All right. Thank you. I do want to open it up to the audience for any questions about their programs or ideas, because I don't want to cut this short. I think there was a lot of good information and takeaways there. So if anybody has a question, just raise your hand and ask it.
Yeah, just a quick question about how frequently you're running these campaigns, how many people that you have to run them. It seems like some of these might take a while to lead up and run, so you can't run that frequently. How do you mix that?
So the question was, with what frequency are you able to run these campaigns, and what are you doing in terms of staffing in order to address the needs?
From Bing, we have about a major campaign every quarter, and then we have ongoing small initiatives just on a regular, ongoing basis. So we probably have 4 dedicated staff for it.
I think we see something very similar in Sky. I'd say we're probably doing about 5 or 6 big campaigns like this year, with other smaller campaigns in between. I think across the business and across our agencies, we've probably got a dozen plus that would be looking at these specifically.
For most of our clients, we don't have dedicated social media campaigns. There are campaigns. The campaigns have cross-media components, and social is definitely becoming a bigger part of it. A lot of the people that work on the television work, they develop that content, and they're really encouraged. Is this going here now? Okay. There are people that are working on concept and are really encouraged to develop social strategies as well, and we definitely have some strategic team leads that work with them. But basically, anytime we launch a campaign, it's expected that that the team looks for social components. The media team is definitely focused on augmenting whatever purchase media is done. They're encouraged to purchase that media in areas where it can be leveraged greatly by earned media. And all told, I'd say there are about 120 people or so within our agency that regularly touch social programs.
I think from our point of view, it's not about campaigns anymore. So these people have elected to enter a relationship with the client. Personally, I see that like a contract. You know, they've given us their loyalty, so we owe them value back. And I think definitely, traditionally, we, you know, as an ad agency, we've thought in campaigns. They have been quarterly, but we've really tried to dismantle that. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering sort of stuff. We talk in terms of little surprise and delight offerings. So every week or two, we'll find something that we can just sort of drop in. You know, from you probably saw from the slide, there's 500,000 people now, so there's a heck of a lot of expectation for us to sort of add value to that relationship. The other thing I'll add to that is the client has really built up their internal team around this now. So they have 5 full-time people dealing directly with the community with regards to sort of concerns and service issues and things like that. And that kind of frees us up a little bit. I mean, we have no business dabbling in their business to that extent. But basically, you know, we take the role of trying to find opportunities to spark little conversations as often as we can.
For the lady from Microsoft, today's news about Skype certainly is going to be exciting. I was really excited when you guys bought Fast. It clearly is the most sophisticated platform for search, and then the evolution of Bing. Now today's announcement of Skype. Is there buzz around Microsoft about buying Brightcove, creating a wrapper, and then Facebook can't compete with you guys at all? I mean, really, you guys really are creating touch points that nobody has.
So the question is around, just to repeat the question, Microsoft announced today that they were buying Skype. That creates a lot of hype and momentum, and also multiple touch points, I think, for Microsoft as an organization. Any comment from Lynn that she could publicly make about what that means for Microsoft would be appreciated.
You probably read publicly everything that we know about Skype. I think just generally coming from one of the product brands within the Microsoft umbrella, the more momentum and engagement we can create for consumers across multiple product experiences and touch points, we see a lot of value. So we know that if a consumer is a loyal user of Office and Windows, that they are more likely to engage with Bing, for example. So that is definitely an advantage from a company level.
All right, with that, I think I want to really thank Lynn, Matt, Mike, and Andre for participating.